going on?
Thank you so much.
Feel like $1 million.
Shout out TMZ, you up?
Let me check out that rig.
TMZ stands for the Mayweather Zone.
How'd you find me, bro? I got my disguise on.
I love my TMZ family.
Welcome to TMZ Sports. I'm Edward Lewis. We got a big show today, but before we get into anything, we have to talk about Thursday night football. The Bengals and the Steelers played in what some are dubbing the unction. Based on the quarterbacks' ages, it was obviously Aaron Rodgers versus Joe Flacco. And to, I think, a lot of people's surprise, Flacco came out on top 33-31 in what was a tremendous, I guess, throwback performance. He was 31 for 47 for 341 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. And what perhaps makes it the most interesting part about it all is he just joined the team like 10 days ago. And in fact, after the game, on the post-game set, he talked about how he really didn't even know some of the plays. Take a listen to this.
Can you walk us through the play where somehow you did a little zone read, pulled it, and ran for 10 in the first down?
So listen, there was a handful of plays today that I was like, what is he saying? We have these formations that end in F, and I was not getting it. That one, I read off my wristband. It was correct. Jamar lined up on the ball. Noah lined up off. Jamar was supposed to be off the ball. He was supposed to counter motion and bluff that end.
Yeah.
And when he was on the ball and the play clock was running down, I was like, screw it. I was just going to hand it off, but he came off the edge so to him quick. I was like, all right, I haven't done this since my probably first or second year, but I'll do it now.
I was in tears when you took so good.
It felt good. It felt good.
Ryan, you're the, I guess, only Bengals fan I know, but the biggest Bengals fan I know. Did you anticipate any of this when, I guess, less than 2 weeks ago, Cincinnati trades actual picks for this guy? Did you see this coming at all?
You know, I initially thought, wow, we're tanking, right? We've traded essentially a pick swap, a 5th and a 6th, to get Joe Flacco, who was benched, 40-year-old quarterback, to replace Jake Browning, who had been in the system for a few years. We had seen him have some success at one point a couple years ago filling in for Joe Burrow. This is a team that had Super Bowl aspirations, you know, in September and in August. And when your star quarterback goes down, and you can't move the ball, and you get outscored during a 4-game losing streak in the first half by 70 points. You know, you gotta. There's something drastic has to change. And by making that trade, you know, it showed you that they were indeed still hopeful and still hopeful that not only for the season, but that Joe could come back and then potentially lead a postseason run. Now, as far as what Flacco's done, I mean, like you mentioned earlier, we're talking 10 days. We're talking 2 games in 10 days. And what we've seen is a quarterback throw for over 500 yards, throw for 5 touchdowns. Now, I guess when you have a receiving core made up of the best receiver on the planet in Jamar Chase, as he proved last night, and T. Higgins, you know, he's got weapons. This is by far the best receiving core he's ever thrown to in his career. And this is a guy with a Super Bowl MVP. So, to get back to your question, did I just think this was all going to click so fast? Absolutely not. Am I excited and hopeful for where it could go in the future? Absolutely. And, you know, this was a team that was left for dead. But, you know, if they lost last night, that was a death sentence. And what they did was win and continue to play this season.
Now, Lucas, on the flip side of that, there was another older quarterback, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Aaron Rodgers. He played well, too. Now, there was a play, though, that I think kind of showed his age a little bit during a celebration, right?
Right. So close to the end of the game, Aaron Rodgers probably thought he had this in the bag. You know, he had a 68-yard touchdown to Pat Freiermuth, and he goes and he does his usual Super Mario celebration as he goes over to the sidelines, but only one problem, and that would be big man Broderick Jones, who's 6'5", 311 pounds. He got a little too excited. He jumped on Aaron's back, knocked him to the ground, and Aaron got up, he shoved the guy, and he was clearly upset. But look, here's a guy who had been no stranger to injuries throughout his career. He doesn't want to go down if he doesn't need to. So despite that all happening, you know, in that moment, Aaron probably thought he was going to win this game and didn't believe that Joe Flacco was going to do what he did. But, you know, Aaron Rodgers, he's also not a stranger to these weird celebrations. He is a weird guy, admittedly. But just last year, you know, he had the one with Robert Saleh, the coach of the New York Jets at the time, where he went in for the hug. Rodgers was like, no, but then he later said, no, that wasn't what it looked like. But the battle of the 40-year-olds. Aaron goes down this time. Ed, you know what it's like to be 40, so...
I was just going to say that. I read some tweets. I'm not quite there yet, but I read some tweets of people who are in that age, and they said any sort of, I guess, unnecessary roughness, they were referencing kids. They get a little bit upset about that, too. Mojo, I guess you have a child, and you're in your late 30s, early 40s now. What do you think of these guys out here still slinging it?
You're a quarterback in the NFL, all right? You're a multiple-time MVP quarterback in the NFL. You're late into your career in the NFL. You don't need to be getting touched any more than you possibly have to. There's a reason why these guys wear red jerseys in practice, the brightest color they can possibly put on them. It's so people don't ever make mistakes and do what this offensive lineman did. That could have easily injured Aaron Rodgers. And at the time, this was a team that only had one loss and was looking very, very strong and still is for the postseason right there. You cannot make these mistakes, especially Aaron Rodgers, who has looked really good for Pittsburgh. A lot of us, myself included, knew that the last 2 years you saw with the Jets, that wasn't all he had left in the tank. There was more to give. It was clearly a bad fit. Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh making a lot of sense right now.
Coming up on TMZ Sports, Justin Bieber was back on the basketball court after one of his worst showings, and we'll tell you if his jump shot has improved or not.
Welcome back to TMZ Sports. Lucas here. Justin Bieber was back on the hardwood Thursday night, and let's just say it went a little bit better than the last time we saw him on there. And if you remember on this show just a couple weeks ago, Justin Bieber teamed up with Team Skylark to go up against his old team in the league, which is a little competition, not necessarily pickup basketball. These guys know what they're doing a little bit more than that. But things didn't necessarily go great. He missed some shots here and there, but Thursday night, let's just say he got his redemption. And here's some footage of how it looked.
1 minute left, 1 minute left. Here comes Justin Bieber. Oh, how you gonna double check?
It feels like it was 2010 again with how the people were going crazy in the crowd. But here's the thing. So Justin Bieber did not do great a couple weeks ago. There was footage of him with a basketball trainer by the name of Lethal Shooter. He also does these viral videos all the time of him making insane trick shots. Seems like he heard the chatter that he might have been Ustin to a few people because he lost his J. No, not the case. He bounced back a little bit. There was one hiccup there where he hit the rafters, and the guy who was emceeing the game said, it's all right, we love your album, which is pretty funny. But Justin seems to be back. Mojo, what do you think? Do you think Justin Bieber is back, or was that a one-off game? Are we being too harsh on the guy? What's your take?
I don't know. I gotta call out the improvement here, man. I mean, celebrity or not, I don't care how much money you have. You still got to put in the work to pull a 180 like this, right? I mean, clearly this is a guy that's showing a lot of dedication, a lot of passion. He's working hard at this, and you can tell that he wants to do this. So I got to give him some credit. I mean, he's not a big guy. I can't say his previous careers have prepared him for a career in basketball. So there's no spillover effect here, but the dude's having a good time. And I always wonder with these celebrities, Lucas, what is really the end goal, right? Like, are you going out there and are you really trying to ball? Are you really trying to make great shots and do good business and, be a good team player? Or are you doing it to get the clicks and get the views? And if you play terribly, you're going to go viral everywhere, and then everyone's talking about you. I know for a fact some of these guys do just that on purpose. I've done that just on purpose when we're having a good time. So I don't know quite what to make of it, but he's getting better. Honestly, I think he's going to continue on this path. I think he's absolutely improving.
Mojo, I think Justin Bieber's a little beyond having to do anything for clicks and clout at this point. But to me, I see it as him getting that cardio and getting ready for April. He's headlining Coachella, and that's not easy. You can't just go out there and do anything. You have to get your body ready for that. I think he's doing that. But either way, he's having fun. Good for you, Justin Bieber.
Coming up next on TMZ Sports, Jordan Hudson is back making some news for her actions on a television set. This time, she made them for words that she said on a hot mic, and we'll tell you all about it. Welcome back to TMZ Sports. Jordan Hudson is back in the news, and once again, it's because of her behavior on the set of a TV program. I'll explain. Pablo Torre, as part of his Pablo Torre Finds Out podcast, obtained some video of Jordan Hudson alongside her boyfriend, Bill Belichick, at one of the filmings of his show called Coach last year. If you weren't familiar with this was a show that Bill did with Matt Patricia and Michael Lombardi just prior to him being hired by UNC. It was him kind of breaking down NFL action. And in the video that Pablo Torre obtained, you can see he's trying to break down the Cowboys versus Browns Week 1 matchup from last year when Jordan kind of interrupts. And I'm sure there's more video we're going to show you where she and Bill kind of trash talk staffers on the set. We'll play it all for you here right now, and we'll give a little reaction afterwards.
Is it necessary to say keep them out of the end zone? Because I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory on defense. I don't know if there's like an additional point.
Yeah, it's a 100%. 100%.
I feel like that applies to all defenses.
Well, no, but we just said that the Cowboys' offense is the best offense in the league. They have the most yards per game. So they're going to get the ball down there. Mm-hmm. We know they're going to get the ball down there. Preventing touchdowns and forcing the field goals is going to be a key to the game. Yep.
This feels like a how many people does it take to screw in a light bulb situation.
Yes.
Editors at NFL Films did something and then turned it around to their guys and this, that, and the other thing. It's like, it's a lot of salary to pay for. If somebody puts on a clock, I could create this in 5 minutes. Will you give me $2,000 to do that? You want to something? We should get Tony in here.
You're very much. He would make this place better than what it is, I'll tell you that.
I have a graphics person who helped me with the website.
We need a football person.
I think they're using all of the underdog people from the other things that don't know how to do anything else aside from what they do on all the other shows, which honestly, frankly, really isn't that good.
So a couple things here. This was an underdog show, which is why she says the word underdogs, but it was being filmed at NFL Films' studio. Now, NFL Films released a statement to Pat McAfee earlier today, kind of distancing itself from this. They said the show was just being simply filmed at their location and they didn't have anything to do with it, aka they're claiming they didn't release this video to Pablo. Now, all that withstanding, again, if you aren't really understanding what's going on, she is upset, Lucas, over the graphics packages on here, which you can kind of see a little bit. It just looks like plain text on a screen. There's another one where it's just a Cleveland Browns helmet, which just basically kind of a PowerPoint formation. It just merely looks like that. It looks like somebody plugged in art into PowerPoint and some text into PowerPoint, and they put it on the screen. And as you can see, Jordan, acting as Bill's manager, obviously we know she is his girlfriend, stepping in and be like, hey, we need to do a little better job here.
Now, I understand that she does work with Bill, and I that's great. I'm happy for them. I just think it's a little odd, especially given everything that's going on, this narrative that's going on, that Jordan is just doing a bit too much. And I think this is a perfect example of that. Now, if this was an isolated incident, I would probably let it slide, but just with the vibes that everyone is getting on this relationship, and ultimately what it comes down to is if they're happy and everything's good with them, then great. Everyone else is happy. But it's just time after time, and in our faces, we have seen these instances that it's just rubbing people the wrong way. And look, they were on hot mics, they know they were mic'd up, and they're dogging people who, this is their jobs, this is what they do. And look, you can be unhappy with what they're doing and maybe try and make some changes to it, but to say that kind of stuff is just unprofessional. And the more that these things come out from Bill, I am so shocked because he's just an absolute legend. He's an all-time great. And, to be thrown into something like this, it's just odd, especially at this point in his career. Now, another thing that I'm just kind of scratching my head at is the fact that she is questioning the breakdown of, what they think the game plan should be, as if like, look, I know the bullet point of keep them out of the end zone seems a little self-explanatory, but I think Bill Belichick will kind of explain more to that. I would not question him in that. I'm sorry, Jordan.
They should have put the bullet point that they need to score more points than other teams as well. Mojo, I think a lot of people have problems with Jordan because she's only 24 and her resume doesn't necessarily yield to having this kind of, I guess, authority on sets like this. And I think that's why people are upset. But I got to ask, I mean, if she was 34 and had some sort of background in management, would you have any sort of issue with this? I just feel like it's just because she's young and his girlfriend that they just expect her to be this arm candy. And when she interjects and she's not that, they're like, whoa, who is this? Do you feel that way?
To an extent, Ed, and that's a kind of a good point. Bill Belichick, I don't know, maybe now he's not perceived as the GOAT coach, but for a long time, he was the GOAT coach. So it really doesn't matter who's next to him, right? Like, you want to hear from the GOAT coach. I mean, whether this girl is 24 or 54 years old, anyone that is side by side with Bill, you're not going to want to hear from. Like, that's why all these NFL games broadcast commentary from superstar players. That's why Tom Brady got so much money to go over there and commentate games for Fox, because you want to hear it from the GOAT himself and you want to hear their opinion. So it really doesn't matter who's next to him. You're not going to want to hear from that person. That being said, does the age make this worse? Absolutely. It makes it worse. But I will say, and I'll give her a little credit, even though I am usually the first to kind of bash this relationship and what it's done for, against Bill, I should say, and the implications of being in this relationship. But a lot of big athletes and big celebrities, they have managers, they have agents, they have publicists, and very often those people are massive pains. I think, and that's kind of the status quo, and you're used to dealing with that and you're forced to deal with that. And that's what it is. But since it's Jordan Hudson, she, I guess, is Bill's representative of some kind, but also his girlfriend, but it's also a very, very young woman. Everything just gets exacerbated here a little bit. I will also point out, too, this clip is a little bit old. And I would say the comments that she made to the rest of the staff in the room, to their faces, the whole conversation, if you go and watch the full clip, she starts talking about Adobe and Photoshop and all of these things, very obnoxious. I don't have as much of an issue with their private comments to each other. I've been mic'd up all day, 12 to 18 hours in a day before. It's very easy for you to forget that you're mic'd up and you got a hot mic on. A lot of times these sound people are supposed to be turning those mics off for you so you don't have to remove it and then get re-mic'd up and it wastes time on set. So leaving the hot mic on, that sucks. It happens, but they were trying to have a private conversation and, they want their show to be perfect. At that point, especially, Bill was in a transition period, a lot going on. You have to present him very well. So I don't have too much of an issue with that one. It was more the comments to the table that just seemed to be a little bit too much for me.
Coming up next on TMZ Sports, those who like popcorn may not be a fan of our next segment. A Philadelphia 76ers forward had his car filled with the stuff, and we'll tell you why.
This is what happens when you don't follow instructions. Adem Bona.
What they do to you, bro?
I'm over there looking at him all, dog. I don't even know what.
You gotta follow instructions, bro. He told you get off the table. He told you get off the table.
You want to get on
I don't get nobody play.
Nah, they not only did people popcorn his joint, straight through the sunroof.
Out of the lid just in case.
They put my boy joint on the blocks. Damn.
popcorn on the top.
Hey, that's what happens when you don't follow instructions. You next. We're gonna grab some popcorn in here. Get you some.
I'm hungry, hard practice.
Welcome back to TMZ Sports. Lucas here. Good news, bad news for Philadelphia 76ers big man Adem Bona. He His car is a mess, but he does have all the popcorn he'll ever need for the rest of his life, thanks to that prank by his teammates. Now, you usually see this for rookies. It's a thing. It's classic in the NBA. It's a little welcome to the NBA rookie moment. But Adem, yeah. Now, we don't know exactly why, this whole thing with the table and all that was so important, but his teammates clearly took it seriously. You recall last year around this time, Jalen Tyson of the Cleveland Cavaliers had something very similar happen to him. Donovan Mitchell even teased it during a game. There were levels to it. But yeah, Adem, you might want to go get that checked out and get it detailed, something along those lines. Let's hope it wasn't buttery. But Ed, is this fair or foul when it comes to doing this to your teammates in the NBA?
I think this is my third time talking about one of these pranks on this show, and every time it gets worse and worse and worse. I don't understand how you could do this to a guy's car, especially a guy like Bona who is not a superstar who's making hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, this sucks. Like, if my car, which I am proud of, has popcorn on it, whether it's buttery or not, it's still gonna leave food particles everywhere. It's gonna be all over your interior. If you have cloth interior, forget about it. I just think there's a much less permanent thing you could do to a guy. Like, I get the taking the wheels off is a pain, and him probably having to screw those back on would be something, but man, to popcorn a guy's car, that's personal. I think we need to move on from this, and maybe packing peanuts. I'm in for making them get donuts and all that stuff. Man, it's a little too much. I'm out on popcorning.
Well, whatever you guys decide, we're going to leave that up to you. But hopefully your weekend is full of popcorn that you want and not necessarily come across in your vehicle. But regardless, have a great few days. We're going to be back here Monday doing the same thing all over again. We're going to be talking all about the NFL action that comes Sunday and anything else that comes up. We're going to be there talking about it. So have a great weekend, everybody.
I'm a lawyer.